Welcome back, guys, to Trails into Reverie, where last episode we played our first two games of Vantage Masters against Claire and Ellie, managing to win in lengthy battles before resetting the Reverie corridor to obtain our second blue sealing stone. This opened to give us a new Daydream, a day in the lives of the SSS, as the four members and Kia go about their days separately until Tio noticed an emergent issue. Now that our meeting is over, it's time we get down to our next order of business. Let's see. We should probably go around the park so we can start to get an idea of how we'll need to secure things.
Works for me. Sounds like the perfect way for us to get some quality time in on the clock too.
Are you kidding me? Are you treating this like it's some kind of date?
Easy. I just said it was a nice chance to have a little one-on-one. Alright, you know I forgot to mention something to you.
Great, what now?
Truth be told, I'm heading back to Falls tomorrow. I was hoping you could join me and the rest of the SSS for dinner tonight, if that works for you.
What?
We're really putting on the Ritz for it, you know, to send me off in style and all that. Night like tonight, the more company the merrier. It'll be a hoot. You in?
You're inviting her to functions +1.
Hooray.
Why didn't you?
Huh?
Why didn't you say something sooner? How could you not tell me you're going back to Erebonia?
Whoa, slow down. I think we've got a bit of a misunderstanding here. Mecca Mishi, what are you... What the hell, pal? This some kind of prank.
What's going on? Why is he... You humans are an eyesore.
I know what's gone into him, but it looks like he's gone berserk. The idea of Mishi taking a swing at someone. You need just sat up somewhere in a cold sweat. Well, I'll put him in his place. Hey, you think you can run away? We can talk later, Mireille. Right now, we've got to get that cat back in the bag.
Right, let's go. I have had enough being kicked by kids in the theme park. I will revolt. I will kill the beach people first.
We've got you now, you bucket of bolts.
Oh my god, it's got rocket punch. Randy, look out.
Leave it at Chrome Dome to be packed with all sorts of projectiles. I can handle this thing, Mireille. You get the civvies to safety.
Roger, I'll take care of them. Don't you dare do anything crazy. I'll call for backup, so just hold out. It's too dangerous to stay here, everyone. I need you to calmly follow my orders so you can all be evacuated. Understood?
Looks like it's just you and me now, pal. Pack a punch, but I've seen worse.
Heh, heh, heh. You are but a mere human. Do you think you have what it takes to overpower my mechanical might?
Oh, there's some serious firepower he's packing under the hood. Yeah, it's going to be hard to come out of this one unscathed, even if I whip out Berserker.
Zero Breaker! Come on, Randy. Did I just hear you muttering to yourself about taking a few bumps and bruises?
Didn't Murray tell you not to do anything crazy?
Well, I'll be. Guess you guys are my cavalry yet again, huh? Good timing. How'd you get here so fast anyway?
We'll explain later. Let's focus on neutralizing the Mecca Mishi. I'll back you guys up with my orders, too.
Sounds good. All right, SSS. Let's show Catboy here what we're made of.
Right!
Must destroy humans!
Must destroy humans indeed.
Rocket Punch!
He does have rocket punch.
Yeah!
Yeah! I must destroy... Why is there a melon on the beach? Well, you know, I guess they're doing that melon breaking game, right? We've got Cherubic Smile, critical plus 100% for 4 turns and CP plus 20.
I mean, to be honest, because it's 4 turns, it gives you 4 BP back, doesn't it?
Let's try to break it, of course.
Break them! Raging Hammer!
Going for it!
I want to get to the other side of you.
You're done for.
Don't die. Mecca Mishi, I need to scan you.
Got him.
Following up!
It's my turn.
But it looks like he's going to live quite a bit by the look of things, so we're going to work slowly and
Break them! Raging hammer!
keep spamming this for the time
Let's
being,
go.
because simply put,
It's
we
my
need to
turn.
generate this. Oh, I've just wasted a turn of it again. Well, I didn't really. I did it for the CP, but still.
Breaker! Now!
I've got you!
Fence down's pretty good.
Leave it to me.
Break them! Raging hammer!
Constant regeneration. We
Leave
need to
it
get
to
to
me.
200 as fast as possible. Sweet to
Arcus activate.
wind.
Raring to go.
I'm scanning you.
Beginning analysis. Data received.
A mechanized Mishi developed by students of the Rean Institute of Technology. For some reason, it has gone completely haywire and has weaponry. I just like high BPM battle music.
Raring to go.
It works for me a lot, you know what I mean? It's sealed. Balance down, strength down.
Arcus activate.
Die!
Yeah!
Guess it wasn't sealed.
Let's go!
Let's go indeed.
How? Proud warrior!
Let's go!
Too bad I'm nowhere near an S-craft at this point. That'd be really good. I say that. Oh, I can't unite front? What? Just here, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah! Yeah! They're open!
I've got you. Leave it to me.
Wondering exactly what to do off of this, because this might be able to get...
They're
I
off
guess
guard.
Proud Warrior is not going to do
There!
the goods for me.
Yeah!
How far are you away, Randy? Oh, but you'll lose the strength up that you've got. It's exactly not what I want to happen.
About time I got this started.
Yeah, I know this is the past, but still.
Eat steel!
I still want it as a game thing.
Berserker! I'd just give up if I were you.
Out of my sight, humans! You will see how
Washi
serious
Mishi?
I
Did it gain health?
am. Wait.
Raring to go.
How about not activating? I can't stop Mishi! Mishi's gonna splishy me!
Keep strong! Toughness shield!
I don't wanna be splishied.
Arcus activate.
Bomber!
It's my turn!
It is. Right, so we can switch over to Raging Hammer now.
Right
You're
there.
going very fast
Raging
now, buddy.
hammer! Right. Zero breaker!
It's my turn.
That's half a bar. Wow, I've already used that much EP. I guess so. You got one more turn of this. I feel like I need to do something to, like, break it. But I don't need to either. It's one of those weird ones, really.
Stay strong, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you. There.
Maybe this will do it, hitting the weak point, though. just got straight back up again. Well, I guess it's not thingy-mabob mode anymore. Now we just need to buff ourselves and finish the job by the look of things.
Activate.
Right.
Pretty much. Oh, do I not have an impede for this? Who's got what now?
Keep strong. Toughness shield.
I don't even think it's got anything that can kill me.
Let's go.
And I'm just acting like it might do.
Bomber.
It's so fast now, though.
Here I go.
He just goes every turn.
Bomber.
The crap.
Don't give in!
Thanks.
It's my turn.
Bomber! Every 2 seconds here. This is a weird everything that we're dealing with here. And I don't know how to deal with it. I really don't.
Stay strong, everyone.
Thank
Thanks.
Here I go.
Does he keep healing or not? I'm confused by what's going on here. Why am I not killing it?
Break them. Raging hammer.
Going for it. Huh. Got him.
Following up.
I just want to S-craft, but like I keep putting criteria in my head like Lloyd gets his thingy. Oh, Lloyd got confused.
My go.
Everything... My goalposts keep shifting and I hate it.
There.
Thanks. Let's go.
It's time for me to kill the crap out of you.
Right.
At this point, I've truly had enough.
Zero breaker.
Okay.
We're just gonna...
How? Proud warrior.
You have to die.
Raring to
This
go.
is how this works now.
Hope you're ready. Yup. Orbital driver set at maximum output. Ether. Strike!
Definitely made that fight way worse than it had
About
to
time
be.
I got this started.
Or way longer.
Eat steel. Berserker! I'd just give up if I were you. No problemo.
That was more of a problem than it should have been, though. We won! Phew, glad that's finally behind us. Is everyone alright? Yep, no worse for wear. Man, am I glad you guys showed up when you did, or else I could have been in bad shape. Thanks. Am I imagining things, or did I hear a pretty familiar sounding howl somewhere back there? No, I definitely heard it too. I recall hearing it at the start of the Liberation last week as well. It's likely been watching over us and decided to lend us a hand, or a paw as it were. Oh, I could have at least come down here so we could have given him a great big thank you. How? Paw? Never mind that. Anyway, I'm glad you're alright, Randy. As am I, even if you just had to take things a little too far like you always do. My bad. Didn't mean to worry everyone. Forgiven. Still, how did the rest of you manage to make it here so quickly? Coincidence. We've been tracing a virus that's been going around which led us here. Virus? What do you mean? The kind that makes computers sick. There's been a really bad program floating around the Orbital network.
Yes, and it's been wreaking havoc across network traffic here in Crossbell. Yona and Tia were thankfully able to pinpoint the source of it earlier this morning. It was a terminal in the depths of the Geofront F sector, which we already investigated earlier. Tia ran an analysis and began exterminating the virus. But then all of the archaisms located inside the Geofront began to go berserk. Exactly like what happened with Mecca Mishi, as a matter of fact. Damn, you gotta be kidding me. Fortunately, the archaism settled down again after the virus was purged from the system. But it avoided deletion and managed to wirelessly transmit somewhere else. We managed to trace it to Michelin Wonderland with Kia's help. Then combine Lloyd using the old Detective Noodle with Ellie's analytics and boom! We're here on the beach saving Randy. Well, that's a detailed recounting. Now it makes perfect sense. You guys have only officially been back for less than a week, but you're already humming along. I'll say, it's almost unbelievable. Not that I'm complaining, of course. The only problem is we'll have to figure out what to do with Mecca Mishi now. Does anyone have any ideas? His circuitry seems to have shorted out, but it would still be safer to put him somewhere secure before attempting any repairs. That's a good point. I'll contact his original engineer and let him know what happened. Ultimately, the virus's true origins and how it spread remain shrouded in mystery. It was clear that further investigation into the matter would be required at a later date. However, with the virus itself disposed of, the case could be considered solved for the time being. Later that night, the SSS, along with Yona and Mireille, held a lively farewell dinner for Randy. Thanks for inviting me, everyone. I guess a change of pace isn't bad every now and then. We're happy to have you both. Make yourselves at home. Yeah, and there's plenty of grub, so don't be shy about asking for seconds. This is supposed to be Randy's going away party, so we sort of went all out. That means booze for those of you above the drinking age too. Everything in moderation, right? This is targeted discrimination. 3 years later and I am still the only underage member of the SSS. Not that I even want to drink. What's wrong, Mireille? Waiting on me to pour you a drink? Jerk, don't think that you're off the hook just yet. Why didn't you tell me sooner that you were going back to Erebonia? You were just going to walk out of my life for another year like it was nothing? Right, I guess we sort of got cut off back at Michelin before I could explain. Sorry about giving you the wrong idea. I'm leaving to do some work at the branch campus, but I'll be back for good in about a month or so. What? Basically, I'm just going to make sure the person taking my old job can hit the ground running. Mireille? Why didn't you say that in the first place? That's my bad. I swear, why are you like this? You're supposed to be an adult. You have a career, not to mention one that hinges on communication, attention to detail, and... Listen to these normies go. Get a room already, will ya? A room? Ah, you're bright red and you haven't even had a drop to drink. Randy and Mireille sitting in a tree. Come on, Tia Todd. It's not funny when I'm the butt of the joke. This is all your fault, Randy. You could at least act like you're sorry.
Lloyd?
Don't mind me. It's just... I was thinking that we really know how to throw a party.
We sure do. Makes you think of old times, doesn't it? I've always hoped we could be like this again.
Yeah. It's like I'm in a blissful dream.
Hey, since you're here and all, you up for a game of cards?
Way to not so subtly change the subject. But fine. I'll make you cry, Uncle. And then you'll have to do my bidding.
Sounds to me like we need to come up with a special penalty for the loser.
Ooh, sounds fun.
I want in!
I already know I'm gonna be dragged into a game, so just give me my hand.
I'm in if we're betting Mira.
Yeah. How about we stay away from gambling?
Yay! All done! Now we just seal it and... I'm getting really sleepy. Today was so much fun. What was that? see much more clearly before. Oh well, as long as we're together, we can do anything. Just like today. I hope tomorrow's just as much fun. But for now, time to go to bed. I couldn't be happier that the SSS is back up and running, Shizuku. I know we're bound to run into our share of troubles, but there's nothing we can't beat as long as we stick together. Hope this letter isn't too long. I can't wait to talk in Crossbell. Love, Kia.
And so ends a day in the lives of the SSS. Another daydream. Another little story. Got an invigorate course. I'm going to have to like figure out where all these courts go to in the end. And by the look of it, that brings us to the end of the session, more or less. Oh my god, Ash has Vantage Masters now? Well, no wonder it's giving us the bonus. We've still got Vantage Masters game to play, which I guess we'll start the next session with. Because it's bedtime story time. And I guess we can read it quite easily while we're in here.
Connecting to Reverie Garden database.
When you think about it. Do 3 daydreams, a blue emblem was obtained. So this is how we can get our win-free emblems there. And then these are our other rewards. Maybe I should get the silver sealing stones now. Between now and the next session, what do you reckon? Right, it's bedtime story time, so I'm going to give you a little special reward. I'm going to get the camera going. We will leave the Reverie corridor. Next episode, next session. By the look of things from here. Well, the little special reward is, because the camera's been messing up, I am sorry about that. And hopefully by next session we will be completely fixed with that. For those who do like it there. For those who don't, hey, you're free. I'm just going to set it up again as we start our stories. But with a camera focused on a slightly different target. How about that? Chapter 5. Sei's fight. Moonless Morn with Kitty Cam. A bit far away, but you can see the beautiful thing. Janlan follows Sei's pointed finger toward a cliff that towered behind the Oni to see a man. Special delivery, Sei. Your BFF has arrived. There's that annoying as crap voice. As the Oni's attention turns to the source of this new voice echoing through the mountain, the young man leaped from his place, the sun eclipsing his body with stark shadows that made it impossible to see his face. Janlan could see he was taller and leaner than he, and dressed in all furs, the hooded part further covering its wearer's face, but that was all he could surmise of him. Well, Janlan supposed he could surmise one other thing. He knew how to fight. The Oni snarled as he formed a disc-shaped buckler of stone to fend off the oncoming dropkick. Another damn mouse has come to nibble at my toes. Come what you like, the number makes no difference to me. The young man, however, simply used this shield as a stepping stone to spring himself into the air a second time. Your back's wide open, scribble face. First twisting into the air, he then landed behind the Oni and launched a flurry of punches at the towering sun-reddened back before him. The speed of these attacks made it feel as though his fists had multiplied to deliver a veritable storm of strikes. A fine effort, but it's nowhere near enough. The onslaught pushed the Oni back to a stagger at most. He immediately straightened and kicked off the ground, soaring away and summoning a rock wall to cover his retreat. The young man halted in turn, jumping backwards to put yet more distance between them. You had to make a dramatic entrance, didn't you, Dao? Seiyu tried it with a smirk. No way. Complete coincidence that I showed up just in the nick of time. Dao answered while dodging a counterattack from the Oni, showing them an unperturbed smile as he did. So, he then added, I will say though, I'm glad I showed up when I did. I got to see something very interesting. Janlan had no trouble guessing to what he was referring. It was the idea of using their villain's rock walls to stab him in his blind spots, just as he had done with his Nagasa. As Seiyu put it, these earthen walls were not the perfect defense they were made out to be on the surface. Dao had also noticed something else, and I don't just mean the blind spots you were exploiting. I mean that those walls don't just come out instinctively when he needs them. Yeah, if we take advantage of that, he's as good as done, exclaimed Seiyu. She then whistled, turning her relative's attention toward her as she made some sort of shorthand signal. The young man's hood bent forward as he nodded in turn, and then immediately he began launching sporadically timed attacks to demand the Oni's attention. It's almost like you two shared one mind, Janlan observed. Guess he was worth meeting up with after all. Tell me about it, she agreed. Okay, Janlan, let's move out. Seiyu guided Janlan to a nearby hill that overlooked a snow-covered slope.
Atop this was a giant lump of ice balanced uncertainly, with an avalanche's worth of snow built up behind it as the frozen shape snatched the moisture from the air surrounding it. Dao intended to slowly lead Oni right to this very slope. Chunlan questioned this plan with a raised eyebrow. I get the plan, but he's not stupid enough to fall for such an obvious trap, is he? She returned the question with a cheeky smile and held up the cylindrical trinket to his face to answer his question. No sense in me hiding what it can do to you now. I'm going to go get things ready. You just wait for my signal. You'll know exactly where to shoot.
I'm sure I will.
Chunlan looked through his binoculars at the point Seu implied, then put them down and muttered to himself what an abomination this was as a man of the mountain, while fixing the scope of his muzzle loader. At the same time, Dao continued drawing the Oni into their desired point in a merry chase consisting of attacking and retreating again. I admire the way you so desperately cling to life, Mouse, the Oni growled, swinging his stony fist with a winning man's wild energy. It appeared he hadn't noticed his prey was intentionally leading him elsewhere, but I grow tired of playing with you. Oblivion will suit you well. Now come here. Impatience building, he wrapped a massive wealth of stone around his hand and let loose a single punch filled with a murderous intent, unlike any of the previous. A direct hit from such a blow would have been more than any human body could bear. Yet in the next instant, the Oni's tattooed face twisted with perplexity. His titan fist was not as he expected, wrapped by a corpse but rather swathed in the fur the young man had been wearing. We call that molting, see? I got some tricks up my sleeve too. Having shed his fur garment, Dao flipped through the air. A provoking smirk on his now revealed face. A handsome one with close-cropped dark blue hair. Welcome though he certainly was, there was no doubting the wild air that accompanied it. His every gesture was live, feral, and free. Continue this game where you're scampering all you like, the Oni snarled, but at the end of it you'll still be smeared across this mountain. He aimed his neck stripe toward the ground, controlling the fragments of stone that rose from it. He slung them toward Dao, bathing the young man in a merciless storm of shrapnel. Dao continued to move backward despite being pelted from head to toe, his movements keeping the damage done to a minimum as he maintained a safe distance between himself and his oncoming foe. This gap was in fact one of the signals to his two allies, that the Oni had arrived at the right spot for a full-on assault. Now fully engrossed by the shift in Dao's tactics, the Oni had no time to wonder about the 3 bolts from a crossbow that flew over his head in the moment. Chunlan! Ready, Chunlan replied to Seu. His weapon's scope was fixed on a small chunk of ice with frozen stalactite hanging from its belly. Mere seconds later, fire spat from Chunlan's muzzle loader, the bullet biting into this most vulnerable chunk. The point destroyed, the weight it supported was now too much to bear, forcing a massive mound of ice to begin collapsing inward on itself as it threatened to hurtle down the slope. As if to follow the lead of the crumbling ice, a range of snow covering the face of the slope followed. No simple landslide would have been a threat to the Oni and his wealth of experience, but this mighty force would be like a beast the size of the mountain itself, shedding its wintry coat. Chunlan could see light dancing through the fog at places along the incline. 3 exact locations where Seu had shot her bolts, the slope began to tremble with greater force. The moment the light and fog given off by the bolts faded, the earth truly awakened with a terrifying moan. The ice and snow at the top of the slope now fully collapsed, then rumbled down the mountain with a speed in which nothing could escape. Ha! The Oni cried with amusement. An interesting gambit, but you'll... The monster of a man had no time to retort. Yet, he realized this too late. Before he could finish his sentence, the avalanche had rushed downward to swallow his legs, the build-up around him increasing at far too great a speed for him to summon a new wall of stone to protect him. Cold, wholly violent waves continued to crash into him, engulfing his form until even his vibrant tattoos were buried beneath the silvery white drifts. By the end of it, he'd been completely entombed beneath ice and snow. Did we get him? Chunlan called out. Seu shook her head. I doubt that'll kill a guy like him, but I don't think he'll be getting out anytime soon. Great. 2 or more leaving for an avalanche, but just how did you manage to pull off one of that size? He was still in awe of just what they had accomplished with a few bolts in the bullet, but the cause versus the effect was still on a seemingly inconceivable scale. I adjusted the moisture along the slope and made conditions ideal for a snow to slide, answered Seu as she removed the trinket from a custom slot in her crossbow, returning it to her around her neck. Each bolt sent had been infused with a kind of energy from it before being fired, and Chunlan now realized they retained this connective energy even after being fired off a good distance away. So that little cylinder was the key, huh? Figures, Chunlan muttered. The Oni was after it too, but even still, I can't believe it has the power to adjust the moisture of the whole face. Chunlan's need for answers was now at its peak. If there was some kind of paranormal event behind it all, perhaps understanding it would help him learn more about the mysterious origins behind Raiju. Howdy, girl, Seu. Your plan got him in one. You're good though, right? Not hurt anywhere? But Dao hurried over to the 2 of them.
rattling off the questions and commentary once close enough through a chomped leaf that stuck out from his mouth. What? Okay. That's an image, isn't it? His hair may have been a different color from his relatives, but their clothing had similar patterns and their suntanned skin held the same natural shade. He, however, had opted to paint over his in a way that very much stood out. I'm fine. I was more worried about you, Dal. Just where were you? Sorry about that, you replied with a humble smile. I'd actually stopped by a village near here to gather some info first. Some luck though, huh? First some wolves were running wild, then they only showed up, but they should be behind us now. Still, Dal took Sayori by the shoulders, enfolding her securely in his arms as he fixed Chunlan with his gaze. You were local? A hunter, maybe? Thanks for helping say. I should be the one saying thanks, Chunlan replied. You're Dal, I think it was. We'll say who's what, brother? Close enough, we're technically cousins, but we may as well be brother and sister. You might have heard of me. Tornado Dal ring a bell? It sure doesn't, but it's a pleasure. Chunlan offered his hand, which Dal took. Dal's other hand was off the side with Sayori, preventing the stranger only just met from getting too close to her. Chunlan followed up. Well, I've got an awful lot of questions after all this, but we can save that for once we're not outside. The weather's only going to get worse tonight. He then looked up at the sky, watching as the wind carried clouds of snow. To him it said the spirits of the mountain had seen the whole affair, and they were in a frightful rage for it. Of course, we have chapter 6 too. Keeping the cat there. It's beautifully sleeping. Chapter 6, Lust Spoke a Woodland Wanderer. Nestled in the northeastern corner of the Zamurian continent loomed Mount White Crown. Its body played mother to a richly unique culture and ecosystem, but though loved deeply by the people who made her their home, she was not merciful in turn. The many mysteries and phenomena she held, seen as events worthy of worship for some, while mere fables worthy of dismissal for others, made life very difficult indeed. But still, they continued to live on in her embrace, accepting that this was and would always be her way. There were those who insisted there was a connection between the stories of the mountain and the mysterious disappearance of the greatest Matagi who ever lived, Kian. Okis. It was on this day that Chunlan was about to come face to face with the truth behind this long-sung tale, through a threat looming in the shadows, all while discovering something more about himself than he ever thought possible. And all through the words of someone who came from somewhere far away. So that weird little thing is called the Cylinder of the Frozen Sky. I've never actually seen an artifact before. As the sun set, Mount White Crown wailed as wind and snow kicked up to bid these new invaders unwelcome. They had to move quickly, which is why the three of them, Chunlan, Sayori, and Dal, now huddled around the campfire in a small cave, the blizzard raging on just arge away. Dal, who had lost his fur coat during their lively encounter, had taken to piling liberal amounts of wood into the fire. According to the two foreigners, the Cylinder of the Frozen Sky was capable of adjusting the concentration of moisture in the air, or even controlling the weather within a certain radius. That made quick work of the mystery of how she was able to create fog from seemingly nothing, or banish snowstorms with a flicker of light. It was also how you were able to cause an avalanche that huge, Chunlan asked, though we knew the answer already. Yeah, I concentrated its power into bolts and adjusted the moisture of the snow where the bolts landed. If you know how it works, it links up well enough with weapons. Oh, well enough. You make it sound like it's not something beyond belief. I almost still don't believe it. Chunlan's surprise wasn't just at the artifact, but the series of events that had occurred in unbelievable succession. The whole day had succeeded in astounding him utterly, from the nomadic tribe responsible for this artifact in hand, to the man who hunted them with an expression of malicious thrill. How this girl seemed to know so much about the world, so much he didn't know. He had never experienced the things she seemed so indifferent to in all his years on the mountain. With that in mind, he further wondered if these were the kinds of things his old friends who left the village were now experiencing on their journeys. Realizing how little he knew about the outside world startled him in one sense, but in another, it left him curious for more revelations. Dal gave a warm laugh as he wrapped his arms around her shoulders to pull her in as he had done before. And she's something else. Doesn't matter how bad a situation gets, she can always think up a way out. Dal, we talked about this, Sayori whined as she shrugged him off. Even the small interplay between the two that had no doubt happened countless times before felt like something that had come from another world entirely. Their every word, their every interaction served to overwhelm Chunlan, making him realize just how small his existence truly was, dwarfing his spirit more than even the mountain that rose high above them. But his loyalty to the mountain remained even in this bizarre, enlightening befuddlement. He was a Matagi, and through that, the weight of the situation was twice so, inspiring him to rise to action and stop the incoming threat from encroaching upon his small world further. It's still hard to wrap my head around it all, but are you planning to get that part you mentioned back from Raiju? Chunlan pushed the discussion forward, not just to cover the erupting conflict within, but to provide himself some direction. He needed to know precisely where to go in order to discover the role he would have to play in the reality unfolding before him. Yeah, I'm saying. It needs to be complete so we can offer it at the shrine. Once it's complete, it should give us the power we need to take down the Oni for good.
She went on to say that she had known the part needed was on Mount Bright Crown, but until she saw it, she was unaware that it had fused with indigenous life. Yet that changed nothing, for they had to retrieve it, fused or free. This new direction failed to anchor him as he hoped. He met a fated, beastly rival he hadn't seen in years, only due to the influence of outsiders who revealed to him what gave the beast its legendary status. It was nothing he could have possibly predicted. It came with a strange sensation, one he wouldn't quite be able to put into words if prompted. His past had run off without him, morphing and distorting under the watchful eyes of others, till it was no longer a narrative to call his own, even if he had to be the one to confront it in the present. He continued on. It was all he could do. Right, that only is an entirely different problem. With Raiju, at least, there was a tangible connection, distorted it was now, that cemented these implausible circumstances in reality. The Oni, though, made him feel as though he had been thrust right back into the realm of fantasy. They could not afford to let that monster of a man remain the dominant party between them. Taking up his rifle, Chunlan wordlessly stepped away from the fire, turning toward the entrance of which there was only a swirling vortex of night sky and icy snow. Where are you headed off to all of a sudden? Dao stood and reached out to Chunlan, gripping his shoulder to stop him in his tracks. I can't let the Oni kill Raiju, so I need to hunt it down before he rises from the snow. It would be a disaster if he snatched that part before we could get it. When he turned to answer them, he was met with two unexpected expressions. Expressions one normally wouldn't present in the face of someone readying themselves for a fight to the death. They were smiling. Unexpected though they were, he found comfort in that being their natural reaction. Dao answered, well then, we're all in the same boat. Wouldn't hurt to bring along someone like me if you're open to having a partner help you race the Oni to the finish line. I tell you, I got a mean kick. Since Raiju is a part of the artifact inside it, we both should know our way around it, Seiyu added. I doubt either of us would slow you down. Both of them were right. There was no good reason for Chunlan to be so possessive over this hunt. There was no greater recipe for seeing to its success than cooperating with two who may know the beast better than he ever thought he did. I don't doubt that, Chunlan responded, but the King of Thunder and I have a history. Why was he being so stubborn about this? Group hunts were a Matai tradition, so they were more than familiar to him, but here he was, impatiently eager to rush ahead on his own. A part of him was embarrassed by his confusion when their reactions were among the few things in this moment rooted in coherence. Why do you want to go alone? Seiyu asked. How come nothing seems to shake you? Chunlan responded with a question of his own. Again, he hoped their answer would anchor him in some way, push him in a right sound direction that would help him feel with the ease they did. Seiyu answered without hesitation. Because my goal has an end with meaning, not just to our people as a whole, but to me as a person. So all that's left to do is achieve it. Makes sense? It didn't. He didn't know anything about what truly drove her or what gave this mission of hers such meaning that it drowned out all hesitation. But he could at least, however invisible, however intangible it was, feel a foundational strength in her answer that brought him comfort. Dao sought to comfort him in another way. Don't think too hard about it. Say it's an unusual one. Even I have trouble understanding her sometimes. Now let's just boil it down to us wanting to have you back in a fight. That good enough? Between the talk, Dao had retrieved some things to prepare for heading back out before returning to Chunlan's side to clap him encouragingly on the shoulder. Yeah, good enough for now. At the time, Chunlan was still aware that the very thing causing his heart to hesitate was also calling up a memory buried deep within. And that is our Kitty-sponsored Sleepy Story Time. Your bedtime story today, and probably a long episode for YouTube. We will speak to Rean and get out of here in the nearby future. But Reverie Garden, we ended up inside this place and it kept us here for a long period of time. A very long period of time indeed. So, with that said, I will see you guys next time for more Trails in the Reverie. Hopefully with this camera working absolutely properly. But until then, all I can say is our roots continue next time. Who with, though? Who with?
Okay.
Maybe we should finish up your route, Lloyd, before we forget it. Before we start a new one. I don't know. I'll see you guys next time for more. Bye-bye.